What's up YouTube, I'm Guy, and today on the channel we are going to be talking about the Rolex Submariner. Two topics in particular, questions really that I've been gotten asked by viewers a lot over the last year or so. The first topic is, what's up with my Rolex Submariner? Since having done my big Rolex Submariner review video, I've gotten a lot of questions from people asking me, what do I think about the watch? Am I still happy with it? Would I still recommend it? I want to go over that. I want to show you the wear and tear that I have put on this watch in the last year of ownership. And yeah, just revisit my Submariner. Number two, I've been getting a lot of questions from people about the potential idea of getting a precious metal or a two-toned Submariner, specifically because of the shortage of stainless steel sports watches that we're currently dealing with right now. As of the fall and winter of 2018, if you want to purchase a Rolex Submariner from an authorized dealer, good luck. A lot of places you're just going to be waiting an indeterminate amount of time. Hopefully you'll get one eventually. Well, a lot of people have asked me, what do you think about getting a two-tone Submariner or a solid gold Submariner? Well, as it turns out, I have on loan a Rolex Submariner Tone Bluesy from a viewer. I want to show you guys that watch. I want to give you my opinions on what I think about getting this if you can't get a stainless steel model readily. What do I think? Is it a good idea, or should you hold out and wait? We're going to jump over to the tabletop. We're going to take a look at my Rolex Submariner. I'm going to tell you how I've been feeling about it. I'm going to show you the wear and tear that it has sustained over the last year, and I'm going to show you that two-toned Rolex Submariner Bluesy. But first, quick shout out to my local Rolex authorized dealer, Bigham Jewelers. I was over there talking with Dan Kelly the other day about watches. He had mentioned to me that they're having a big sale on their Baume & Mercier watches, and I said, hey, if you want to, I will go ahead and let my viewers know. He sent me a couple of pictures. I'll throw them up here along with their contact information. Bigham Jewelers is an excellent authorized dealer of Rolex and a number of other brands. If you want to look them up and take advantage of this sale, give them a call, talk to Dan Kelly, let him know that you heard about their store from Guy and the JustBlueFish channel here on YouTube. Alright guys, here we have it, two modern 6-digit reference ceramic Rolex Submariners. Of course on the left, standard stainless steel Submariner with black dial, black bezel. On the right, of course, the two-tone Rolex Submariner, the Bluesy, as it is often referred to. I am going to do two things here in this video. First, I'm going to show you the standard stainless steel Submariner. This is my personal watch that I have owned now for just over a year. I want to talk about my feelings on this watch, having had it for 1 year, let you see the wear and tear that it has accumulated over that period of time, and basically just, touch on the watch since having done my last major review video of this watch. After that, we will talk about this Rolex Submariner, the two-tone Bluesy, and what do I think about getting this watch as an alternative to the stainless steel watches. As I'm sure you're all aware, stainless steel watches are very hard to come by right now. Go into any authorized Rolex dealer, ask for this 116610LN stainless steel Submariner. Very good chance you're just going to get laughed right out of the store. You might get offered to be put on a wait list. That wait list could be months and months, and in some places as much as a year, or frighteningly even more. So people have been asking me, should I buy a precious metal Submariner? In particular, a lot of people asking about this two-tone, some about solid gold. So I just want to show you this watch as it compares to the stainless steel, let you know what I think about it, let you know if I think you should consider buying it as an alternative to the stainless steel classic Submariner. So first things first, let's talk about my Submariner and what it's been like owning and living with this watch over the last 12 months or so, just over 12 months actually. I got this watch in, I want to say late September, early October 2017. I believe it was, early October 2017. So 13 months now I've had this watch, and I do, as I'm sure any of my regular viewers of the channel will know, I do absolutely love it. Without a doubt, it's my favorite watch in my collection. How often do I wear this watch? Probably the most important point to touch on before we discuss anything else. Well, I would say that I have worn this watch over the last year somewhere around 60 to 75% of the time. Now, because I do this YouTube channel, I have to use and wear other watches to get a feel for them so that I can review them. So I have not worn this watch 100% of the last year, but quite a bit. I would say very conservatively, yeah, 60 to 65% of the time, but quite possibly as much as 75% of my wrist time this watch has gotten in the last 12 months or so. And I have not, I guess this would be question number 2, how much hard use have you put this watch through? I have not put it through significant hard use. I have worn it daily, but I don't do things like, mountain climbing, scuba diving, extreme sports of any sort. So this is going to be from the perspective of your typical daily desk diver. If you're someone like me that wears a watch daily, but isn't extremely hard on your watches, yeah, this could be what you might expect to see in terms of overall wear and tear on your watches. Now, if you're a much more active lifestyle than me, if you are, again, mountain climbing or mountain biking or doing anything in that sort of extreme sports arena, this may not be as applicable to yourself and what you might expect. But for, I think, the majority of this, of us and of the guys that are going to be viewing this video, pretty representative of the kind of wear and tear that you might expect to see on your daily wear Rolex Submariner after 12 months. We're going to come in here a little bit closer. Now, the crystal on my watch and the bezel, and there might be some smudges on the bezel. I did throw on the white glove so as not to add a whole bunch of fingerprints to this watch, since we're kind of scrutinizing the overall finish. But yeah, there might be some little smudges that didn't get cleaned off, but I tried to clean it up as good as I could so that all we're going to see are all the little scratch marks, swirl marks, and everything else. But yeah, I digress. The crystal, to my naked eye, not scrutinizing it under any sort of magnification, it looks absolutely perfect, 100% mint. Sapphire crystal, of course, you would expect that it's not going to get scratched or nicked up. People do occasionally chip the very edge of the crystal because it does, kind of expose itself there between the bezel and the crystal. So yeah, chipping of the edge is probably the most common thing that you're going to see on your Rolex Submariner crystals, actual scratches, unless you somehow interface with like your wife's diamond ring or something real bad. It's very unlikely that you're going to scratch it. You could shatter it. I had one viewer send me in a story about a brand new Sea Dweller 43 that he just got, and he took a fall with it and cracked up his crystal pretty bad up on the top side here. But yeah, very difficult to damage your sapphire crystals on these watches. And again, mine is basically mint. The bezel insert, ceramic, supposedly as scratch resistant as our sapphire crystals. Also, to my naked eye, looks perfect. I'll kind of like rotate it around the light here to give us a better look at it. And that's like a little smudge by the 40, I think. I didn't quite get it all dried when I cleaned it, perhaps. But yeah, no scratches on the ceramic bezel after 1 year. No cracks, and that's another thing. This ceramic is more prone to cracking than it would be scratching, is my understanding of the material. And yeah, it's perfect. I have seen people that have talked about losing their illuminated pearl up at the 0 marker. That can get knocked or popped out, but obviously mine's still there and still basically mint. What about the case? Let's talk about the tops of the case first, including the lugs. I can't really see any problems whatsoever with the brushing of the case. I have not banged it into anything. It still basically looks perfect. Where you start to see the very first signs of wear and tear are going to be on the high polished flanks of the case. I'll see if I can get those to show up here on camera at all. Perhaps you can see In this area, I will try to highlight them. There's two little vertical scratches. It's difficult to show with all of the light here. Very, very faint little vertical scratches. They might be showing there a little bit. Brought the camera in a little bit closer. You can see those little faint vertical scratches and a small nick or ding right in between them. Coming down at the end of the lug there, there's a little bit of scratching as well. The overall edges of the case, though, which are very important to try to retain, what we're talking about is the fine edges all along the lugs, still sharp and crisp. They haven't been dented or dinged at all, fortunately. If we come over to this side of the case, there's some hazy little swirl marks. I'm not sure if it's going to show on camera too well. There's one horizontal going across almost the entirety of the case from all in this lower region here. Difficult to pick up, but overall, yeah, you're starting to see it there. All those little hazy, swirly marks. Those aren't smudges. You can see them probably better with the naked eye than my camera's picking them up. I'm not entirely sure because I'm looking at this on the small viewfinder, but the left-hand 9 o'clock side flank of the case, kind of an idea here of the amount of wear and tear that I have gotten over the course of a year of daily or most daily wear. A couple little nicks there showing up towards the center region. These are all just, little minor imperfections that you pick up every single day when you wear your watch. People always say like, the idea of getting dents and nicks and scratches on your watch, it tells your story. I mean, there's no... I never really subscribed to that line of thinking. There's no story with all these little nicks and scratches. Like, I don't know where any of these came from. It's not like there was a special occasion and I remember how I picked up those little scratches there. They just appear. So I disagree for the vast majority of wear and tear that I put on my watches anyway. There's no special story. There's no character. It's just blemishes that one day will probably get polished away when the watch is sent in for service. On the opposing side, it's held up better in my opinion. I can't really see a whole lot of wear and tear. I think that I'm less prone to knock the 3 o'clock side, which is on my left hand pointing towards my wrist, into anything. Maybe a little nick there on the crown guard, just right there. Very, very faint. I'm not even sure I've noticed that one before. And don't people are going to jump down my throat and be like, oh, you're so fussy. You're like freaking out over all these little scratches. No, I don't give a crap about all these little nicks and scratches. I'm just showing you guys what I've picked up over the last 12 months. That's not bad. I'm not losing my mind over this stuff. Am I like really drilling in here and trying to point out every single little one? Yeah, because that's my job. I'm a reviewer. I make videos. I'm trying to be as thorough as humanly possible. But I know people are going to take this all out of context and blow this out of proportion like I'm having a heart attack because there's some very faint minor little scratches and nicks on my watch. That is not the case. I'm just being extremely thorough to show you guys what you might expect if you wear a watch like this every single day and you don't abuse it. If you're just like a normal casual guy that works in an office job or something. That's, kind of what I'm trying to do here. The other big spot where you're going to start finding wear and tear, at least in my experience, is on the clasp. And it's not bad at all, but I definitely have some scuffs and scrapes on the clasp. They're very, very superficial. No big dings or chunks or anything. So it's going to be difficult to show them. Down here on this side of the clasp, there's a nice, rough scrape or scuff mark. Not deep, you can't even feel it when you run your finger over it. But it does interrupt the overall flow of the brushing on the clasp. As we come in a little bit closer, that scuff mark is probably the worst of it, but there's lots of little tiny scuffs and scrapes and lines on the clasp that I have accumulated over the course of the last year. They're not going to show up on camera very well because they're not deep, and I don't have the best, highest quality, highest definition camera. But yeah, there's just basically little tiny nicks and scuffs. that throw off the flow of the brushing. That's really the biggest way that you can notice them. In person, they're a little less subtle, I think, than are showing on camera here. But yeah, that's the main other place where I'm starting to pick up some wear and tear, but it's certainly not bad whatsoever. Like the sides of the case, the polished sides of the clasp, they pick up little marks as well. Just again, little hairline scratches. It's pretty much everything that I've gotten so far. Nothing outrageous, nothing bad, but if you could really get in there and scrutinize them, you know, a couple dozen little tiny hairline scratches once you compare both sides of the clasp. Yeah, not bad. Not anything that can't be polished away. But, you know, again, just what you might expect after a year or so of ownership and wearing of, you know, a watch like this. If you engage and disengage your glide lock a lot, your first couple of links here, they're going to get some wear and tear right on this face of the link just from going in and out of the clasp. Again, it looks very similar to the scuffs that you get on the clasp itself. Just, you know, messes up the smoothness of the brushing a little bit. But yeah, this link and then interior of the glide lock, the rest of the links there, they just get a little bit raw is kind of how I would describe it if you do engage and disengage this mechanism, you know, a lot, which I do living in South Florida with the heat and the humidity. I am having to bring in and let out my glide lock one slot either way frequently. So expect to get a lot of wear and tear there. The links themselves, I really haven't picked up much wear or tear on the links themselves. As a matter of fact, basically none. I haven't banged my watch into any hard surfaces, walls, doorknobs, door handles, nothing like that. I'm not particularly clumsy, I guess. So yeah, the bracelet, the links of the bracelet, they're all just about as close to mint as the day that I bought them. Little half link here. I don't know if you guys ever saw that, but I did add a half link on the 6 o'clock side just to help better balance the position of the bracelet on my wrist. So that's why there's that one short link right there, if you were curious. But yeah, the end links, they're basically still perfectly mint as well. They have the nice sharp machine lines here on the extended T portion of that center portion of the end links. Both sides, it's basically still just perfect. The tops of the case, the tops of the bracelet, it's all holding up really, really well. Have I banged it around a little bit? I mean, I don't work on my car engine while I'm wearing the watch or do anything outrageous like that, but yeah, I don't know. For example, I wear this on my left hand. I've stuck my left hand into, my metal mailbox and maybe banged it as it's going in or out a little bit. But the metal seems to be holding up on that sort of, daily casual use pretty well. I have no complaints with it, surprisingly. When I started with Rolex watches, in particular my Explorer, one of my complaints was that the metal, the 904L stainless steel, does seem to be very soft and show and pick up scratches. Well, I think I said pick up scratches. I think the truth of the matter is that it does show scratches, particularly on these high polished flanks of the cases, be it this Submariner's Oyster case or the Oyster case as on my Explorer that I used to have. Yeah, they do show the scratches. It's because I think the finishing is so perfect, the high polish is so mirror-like, the brushing is so smooth and consistent that any little, abnormality shows up fairly readily when you scrutinize the overall fit and finish after getting wear, basically. So yeah, I'm not sure that it necessarily picks up scratches or scuffs or scrapes more readily. I don't think that it's necessarily a softer steel, at least significantly, at least as much as, we might notice any significant difference between this steel and, say, 316L. I think it's just the overall quality of the finishing. It does seem to show all of that wear and tear a little bit more. Now, since I've shown you all the very slight, albeit very slight, wear and tear that I've picked up on this watch in the last year. Well, what do I think about it? Am I happy with it? Am I glad that I got this watch? Well, I'll backtrack before I even got this watch. Originally, I got an Explorer 39mm, the newest, latest version, and I was not happy with that watch. I gave it 3, probably more like 4 months, but it just didn't work for me. I found the watch to be somewhat uncomfortable to wear. I felt like the overall size, scale, and most importantly, the proportions were a little off, and it just looked disproportionate is the way that I would describe it. I was not happy with that Rolex Explorer 39mm, at least so far in as how I felt like I should be. And what I mean by that is that the Explorer was, and it still is, a nice watch, a very nicely made watch, and it is relatively attractive. But because I was unhappy with the fit, because I didn't think that it looked absolutely perfect, I couldn't justify having that watch just sit in my watch box being unworn the majority of the time. Were money no object, I would like to still have it, I suppose. I could probably enjoy that watch once in a while, but I wouldn't want it to be a daily wear watch. I did want a daily wear Rolex, and fast forward to selling that Explorer and buying this Submariner, I am extremely happy that I bought this watch. I think this is the one I should have gotten to begin with. It was foolish of me to try to be clever and get something different and a little bit more casual or understated, or all of the dumb reasons that I was trying to convince myself on why I should get that instead of a Submariner. I was just flat out wrong. This is the watch that I should have gotten the whole time. I have no regrets about buying this watch. It is absolutely outstanding, extremely comfortable. Now, I had said that the Explorer was not that comfortable. Well, it had kind of sharp, crisp edges along the bottoms of the case and the inner edges of the bracelet, and then it would just bite into my wrist when my wrist would get warm and sweaty and swell up. But this has all of those attributes or characteristics too. The inner edge of the case is very, not sharp enough to cut a tomato, but it's crisp, it's sharp. The same with the bracelet. I mean, it's effectively the same bracelet. What's the big difference, though? Why is this one, in my opinion, one of the most comfortable watches that I've ever worn? And that Explorer fell very short in terms of comfort? Well, it's this glide lock clasp, obviously. I can size this to the absolute perfect fit, and I can adjust it in 2mm increments whenever the need should arise. I could never achieve an absolutely perfect fit with that 39mm Explorer. So it was just never very comfortable. Absolutely superbly comfortable watch here with the Submariner. Again, absolutely zero regrets. I'm very, very happy with it. Now, on to part 2 of this video. If you want a Submariner, but you can't find a stainless steel Submariner, and you're considering getting a precious metal watch, maybe this two-tone Bluesy, do I think it's a good idea? Well, the easy, quick answer is yeah, I do think it's a good idea, and here's why. Most people seem to feel like they would be compromising if they got this two-tone Bluesy. They feel like, well, I really want the stainless steel. Maybe I want the Hulk with the green bezel green dial. Maybe I want the black. Maybe I want a no-date stainless steel ceramic Submariner. Because I can't get any of those watches, I'm compromising by getting this one. If you feel that way, then don't get it. But if you do like the way this watch looks, and I frankly think it's beautiful, if you don't mind the added expense, and there is a little bit of an added expense due to the fact that it uses 18 karat yellow gold, I would definitely get this watch. I think it's a beautiful watch. I could definitely wear this watch as a daily wear as easily as I could wear this ceramic stainless steel Submariner, without a doubt. The stainless steel Submariner, probably a little bit lighter, I've noticed. This does have a bit of heft to it because of that 18 karat yellow gold. But other than that, it doesn't really feel much different. This has the same outstanding bezel as my ceramic stainless steel Submariner. It has all of the same outstanding features in terms of the glide lock clasp, so you're going to get a perfect fit no matter what. It is this, ultimately the same nice oyster bracelet, exact same case shape. The only difference is that the dial's blue, The bezel insert is blue. The bezel insert has the yellow gold. The dial has yellow gold surrounds on the hands and the markers. The bracelet has yellow gold on the center links and the center of the clasp. And your crown is yellow gold. That's basically it. Otherwise, it is a real Submariner. It's not a compromise. It's not like you're getting a lesser watch. Not in terms of, quality or value, but I think maybe people feel like it doesn't have the same prestige as the simple stainless steel Submariner. I don't feel that way at all. I think this is every bit as important of a watch as our standard stainless steel Submariners, and I would definitely consider getting this watch if I liked it again, if I could afford the price difference, and yeah, I wanted to wear it, and I would definitely want to wear this watch. It's outstanding. Now, we talked about wear and tear on my stainless steel watch over the course of a year. This watch, I believe my viewer that loaned it to me has owned it for a few months maybe, and this is going to be the real downside. Wear and tear is going to show on this watch much more readily because all of the solid gold center links are high polished. Solid gold will scratch easier than stainless steel, and as I mentioned on the wear and tear discussion of my stainless steel watch there, high polished surfaces also show wear and tear, seem to at least a little more readily than brushed surfaces. And if we come in here nice and close, I'm sure we will see that this relatively new watch, I think again it's only a couple months old at most, does have its fair share of scratches and wear and tear. There's a nice little scuff, kind of similar spot to where I scuffed my clasp actually. But yeah, it picks up hairlines like crazy on this high polished yellow gold. You have to learn to live with that if you're going to have a yellow gold watch. In particular, a polished watch. This would apply to a GMT Master 2 on an oyster bracelet with polished stainless steel center links. In my opinion, it's still going to show and pick up a lot of scratches just like this. But this might even be worse just because of the nature and the overall softness of yellow gold. In terms of the flanks or sides of the case, very similar to my watch. If we come in here a little bit closer, probably going to see that there are some little nicks and scratches and hairlines here. Nothing outrageous or significantly bad, but yeah, high polished stainless steel, it just picks it up, it just shows it. Nothing you can do about that. So that's one main thing that I did want to point out though, that you will find the scratches showing up on this high polished yellow gold center links of the bracelets. Probably the only downfall, if you're somebody that likes to keep your watch looking as mint as possible, it's just, not going to hold up over time as well. That said, it should polish up easier, because if it gets scratched easier for being a softer metal, it should also polish easier being a softer metal. So, that's maybe an upside. But yeah, for sure, as we get in real close here, you can see all of those little hairline scratches on the yellow gold. The dial and the bezel on this watch, it's really the main event. I guess it's the combination of this royal, beautiful blue on the dial and bezel with the 18 karat gold. It really does look outstanding. The printing on the dial, as opposed to being white, is in gold as well, and it looks really, really outstanding. Yeah, it's just a really nice, rich, attractive looking dial. If we come in here really close and try to eliminate some of the glare, you can see that dial, very much a gradient, sort of sunburst effect. It is amazing looking. I think I had mentioned, could definitely wear this as a daily wear watch and be just as happy with it as I could be with my ceramic. Is it a little more, attention grabbing or blingy? I mean, first of all, yes, it is blingy-er than the standard black sub that I have, but in terms of attention grabbing, I don't think people really notice your watch anyway, and people will argue with this point with me till they're blue in the face, ironically. I live here, I work there, people do notice your watches. Yeah, if they're into watches, people will notice your watches. If you live in a highly competitive or work in a highly competitive environment, and like people are competing for, jobs and prestige and status within the workplace, then yeah, people are going to be noticing who's wearing what, perhaps. But like in my daily life, going out in town or whatever, like no one has ever glanced at my wrist that I've noticed. No one has certainly ever commented on my watches. I don't think that the very vast majority of people are going to notice a watch like this on your wrist, think anything about it, or care about it, unless they're into watches. Now, there's a number of reasons why people might be into watches. They might be watch enthusiasts like us. They might be, into status and status symbols. They might be thieves looking to rob you. Those all fall into categories of people that might be interested in watches for different reasons. So yeah, there's going to be circumstances for sure where someone might notice the watch you're wearing, but I think by and large, no, nobody really notices or cares what watch you have on your wrist. So from that perspective, do I think that this watch is too much bling, too much show, too much, whatever? I don't. I really don't. I just don't think people care or notice. At least that's been my experience. If you asked somebody, take the Rolex and take the word Submariner off the dial, if you set out 3 watches and asked somebody to point to the Rolex, 99% of the population probably couldn't. They've probably never even seen a Rolex in person. They know what the word Rolex means because the branding and the marketing is so strong, but they don't know what a Rolex even looks like. They couldn't pick one out of a lineup. It's not an issue in my opinion. Alright guys, well there's the 1-year update on my Rolex Submariner ceramic and stainless steel, the watch on the left, and also a little bit of a comparison to a Tone Bluesy Submariner. What I think about this watch, I think it's awesome. Do I think you should consider buying it if you can't find a stainless steel? I absolutely do, given a few criterias are met. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Stick around for a few more minutes. I'm going to jump back to the studio view for my final thoughts. Alright guys, there we have it. The Rolex Submariner date and the Rolex Submariner Bluesy. First, about my watch. What have I been thinking about it over the last year of ownership? Well, as I said on the tabletop, I love this watch. It's outstanding. Probably my favorite watch, and if I could only own one, this would probably be it. Truth be told, I can't imagine not having a Casio G-Shock DW5600 in my collection, but at 40 or 50 bucks, I think I can afford to have that along with the Submariner. So yeah, if I was going to be a 2-watch guy, it would probably be those 2 watches. I do love this watch. It's very comfortable, extremely accurate. Stylistically, I think it's just about perfect. Very, very happy with it. I would recommend it to anybody that's thinking about buying a luxury dive watch, in particular a Rolex. Absolutely, go for it. Jump on it if you can find one. Now on to probably the more important and relevant topic. What about buying a precious metal or a 2-tone Submariner if you can't find a stainless steel? I get this question a lot lately. People saying they've gone to the authorized dealer and there's no stainless steel watches to be had. They ask to be put on wait lists and they're told that it could take 3, 6, sometimes 12 months or even more before the authorized dealer thinks they will be able to deliver onto them a new Submariner or GMT Master 2. Those are the most popular ones that people are having trouble getting. So they ask me, should I consider getting a 2-toned or a precious metal? I think yes, you should consider it if you meet a few criteria. First of all, do you like the watch? Do you like the style? I really do like the style of this 2-toned Submariner Bluesy. I think it's awesome. I could see myself wearing this watch on the daily, and I wouldn't regret it or have any second thoughts about it. If you like the watch, for sure, you should consider it. If you can afford the additional cost, and there is some additional cost when buying a 2-toned watch, yes, you should definitely consider it. It is a fantastic watch. It is a Submariner through and through. I think some people might worry a little bit, like, oh, I'm not getting the real Submariner. I'm not getting the, the black dial, black bezel, stainless steel with ceramic insert Submariner. It's not the real thing. This is most certainly the real thing, whether it's a 2-tone, whether it's a solid gold. I mean, there's also the Smurf Submariner, the blue dial, blue bezel, and white gold. That would be awesome, but extremely expensive. All of these watches, though, would be absolutely excellent choices, and I would recommend any one of them because they are through and through Rolex Submariners. Alright guys, that's going to wrap this video up for today. Thanks for tuning in. As always, I appreciate it. If you'd like to help support me and what I'm doing here on YouTube, down in the description of this video is a list of ways, I should say, that you can do that. First of all, follow me on my social media accounts, be it Facebook, be it Twitter, be it Instagram, whichever one you prefer. That does help me out. Number two, if you'd like to support me financially and join the rest of the guys over on Patreon, giving me a small donation every month, I would really appreciate that. Big thanks to everyone that's been over there doing that. Thanks again, guys. I do appreciate it. Finally, if you like anything that I've reviewed and you're thinking about purchasing it, or thinking about purchasing anything for that matter, I have a link to Amazon. It's through my affiliate account. If you click that link before you do your shopping, I get a small commission, and believe it or not, those commissions do add up. A lot of you guys have been using that link, and I hope a lot more of you consider doing it as well. Big thanks to everyone that's been supporting me through my Amazon affiliate link. I really do appreciate it. Alright, that's going to wrap this video up for today, so until the next one, bye now.